asking a question, where does healing come from? Where does health come from? Does it come from medicine? Well, we know that's not true, because if it were, yeah, we know, yeah, like the Pez. If that were true, then the people on the most medications would be the healthiest, right? But we know that's not the case. Okay, so we got a huge problem. 70% of Americans take at least one prescription drug. Greater than 50% of Americans take 2 or more prescription drugs. 20% take 5 or more prescription drugs. The top categories prescribed in the US are antibiotics, antidepressants, and pain-killing opioids. Prescription drugs kill over 100,000 people each year. There were over...
That's taken according to how they were prescribed.
Correct. That is not overdose. That's correct. There were over 34,000 opioid overdose deaths in 2016. 91 people die from an opioid overdose in the U.S. every day.
How many?
91 people die a day.
This is actually our biggest drug death problem, is opioid addiction.
The number of antidepressant overdose deaths more than quadrupled between 2002 and 2015. Antidepressants. So do you see how that coincides with what I just talked about before?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's other reasons as well. But the nation's life expectancy has gone down for the first time in over 20 years. And then, of course, were we living longer or are we dying longer? That's the question you have to ask. Right? Prescription drugs kill more people than illegal or illicit drugs, but yet we have a war on illegal drugs.
But who's paying?
Sort of curious.
Okay, now does health come from chiropractic? By comparison, there is no comparison, by the way. Chiropractic is extremely safe, and our malpractice insurance rates prove it. So whenever people are like, I'm scared, I'm like, okay. But yet, they'll line up, whatever, pop the pills, and they think nothing of it, but they're scared of me. And so I say, okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'll take my malpractice insurance premium and I will put it up against your medical doctors every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And I guarantee they would want to switch places with me. So that is a third-party, unbiased insurance company determining what is risky and what is safe. So chiropractic is extremely safe, but I would say, health and healing doesn't come from chiropractic either. Okay, the power within, okay? In the chiropractic world, we call this innate intelligence, okay? Every thought or action you have is influenced by innate intelligence. It is life that heals, not doctors. Okay, so you are the doctor, you are the healer. You may.
Amen. I was so excited I didn't even want to change.
Okay, so where does life begin? It starts with 2 tiny cells, which multiply until there's approximately 40 or so, whatever.
Are they pink and blue?
This looks yellow and like a bluish white to me. But
Okay.
That's only so you can see it.
exactly,
I thought
yeah.
it was coded male and female.
Yeah. Looks like an orange and, that's got an infection or something.
An orange with whiskers.
Yeah, exactly. So again, these 2 cells then multiply into 40 trillion or so cells. It's all done with no help from you, right? From any outside thing. It is innate intelligence which is driving all of that. So just like the oak comes from the acorn, how does that happen? It's just this, yeah. Go ahead. Yep. Okay, so again, the brain is the master control. The first organ to form is the brain. It controls all vital functions of the body. The rest of the nervous system is formed. And then everything else, once the nervous system is formed, everything else comes off of that. So all the organs are like buds, off of that. Again, because the nervous system is the master controlling system of the body. It's also, it's the first system to form in utero. It's also the only system that's completely encased in bone. So it lends to its importance. Okay, so did the wisdom that created us leave us after birth? Like, here you go, now you're on your own. No, we were created to live 80 to 120 years with good health. Unfortunately, only approximately 1 in 1,000 lives to 60 in good health. Again, we have approximately 40 trillion cells or so. Cells die every second. New cells are being created to replace them. Okay, this is why we need sleep, right? Heart cells, last 90 days. Red blood cells, 120 days. Vital organs, 14 months. And you have a new body every approximately 7 years.
And your stomach turns over
Daily. So the only irreplaceable organ is the brain. Okay? Again, it's the master controlling system. And so your body's divided up into these 6 different health zones or systems. So there's the glandular, eliminative, the nervous system itself, the digestive system, the muscular system, and the circulatory system. And so your brain has to last you your whole life. So it's worth, taking care of. Okay, so people regularly have all these different kinds of checkups, right? So they go to the dentist, even when they don't have any pain, right? They go to the dentist because they know what?
You don't go to the dentist?
Well, you don't like feel a cavity necessarily. Like they might spot it on an X-ray before they actually feel it, right? So you don't go to the dentist because you have a pain in your mouth. You go to the dentist because you don't want one, right? So people get their eyes checked. They get their heart and their lungs checked in a physical. You also take your car in for regular maintenance. You get regular exercise and nutrition because you know it's good for you. But most people have never had their nervous system checked. And again, if it's the most important, then why not?
You?
That's why I'm standing up here.
Damn, now you're telling us.
Okay. So taking care of your brain and nervous system. So that's all chiropractic wants you to do. Medicine focuses on trying to cure sick cells, whereas chiropractic focuses on making sure that the newly created cells are healthy. Okay, you're changing at multiple million cells per second. Powerful. It's a powerful statement. So as long as new cells are being created healthy, you have the greatest potential for health. But if new cells are being created sick, then you have continued problems. And again, that kind of goes back into, what I was talking about before as well. So the spinal cord is housed in 24 movable segments. Now, again, yes, there's 24 movable segments, but they don't really move, except for a couple. They don't really move independently of another. It's not like one moves out of alignment with another. It's, it's a kinetic chain. So the big movers are the head, the torso, and the pelvis. So for example, if I move my head over here, which bone's out of alignment? They all are, right? So I look at, people's posture to kind of give me an idea of what's going on the inside. The nerve roots exit between the vertebrae, and they go everywhere and innervate everything, right? So you have a bone, and you have a disc in between. The disc is there to not only provide shock absorption, but it creates a space because in between those bones, nerves come out. So you have the brain, the master like supercomputer, then you have the information superhighway. And then off of that are all the nerves that go everywhere, like your digestive system and your glands and reproductive organs and all that stuff. So in the chiropractic world, we call any interference there, we call it a subluxation. Sub meaning less than, lux is light. So it's less light or less life in the body. And so again, we want balanced brain centers. So there's different centers in the brain that are controlling the 6 different health zones, okay? Again, zone 1 is the glandular system. Zone 2 is the eliminative system, so all the organs associated with eliminating toxins from the body. Zone 3 is the central nervous system itself, its function. Zone 4 is the digestive system, so again, all the organs associated with digesting and assimilating food. Zone 5 is the muscular system, so again, all your muscles. And then zone 6 is the circulatory system, moving blood and lymph, around the body. Okay, so this interference, these unbalanced zones, these what we call subluxations, they literally crush life from your body. So what's the difference between these 2 light bulbs? Because they sure look the same. Why is one brighter and one's dimmer?
Higher watts.
Well, there's more light coming to one, right? There's more electricity coming to one of them versus the other one, right? But you look at their makeup, they're no different. So, for example, remember Christopher Reeve, Superman? Okay, so when he fell off a horse, he actually had, they call him, the only reason why he survived is because he was Superman, because he had a very, very dangerous fracture in his upper neck that, could have killed him, which is why when they, when they hang people, it's the upper neck, brainstem. But anyway, he fell off a horse, had a very dangerous fracture, and so it interrupted the signal from his brain to his body. But if you looked at his legs, they were just like yours, they were normal. If you looked at his lungs, they were normal. If you looked at his, digestive, they were all normal, right? Like the actual physical makeup, right? There was nothing different about his leg, but he couldn't move it. Why? Because the signal had been interrupted, right? Now, I'm not talking about, severing the signal completely, but I am talking about interference, like you have interference on a phone line or something, interference in the signal. Okay, so how do unbalanced zones affect your life? They affect your health. Usually what you can kind of determine, we call that, or what you can feel, your symptoms are the tip of the iceberg. The real problem is way below the surface. Okay, unbalanced zones can affect your thoughts, mental decision, attitude, again, brain fog, depression,
And your hair.
Yeah. Give you... and performance, right? So a lot of elite athletes, they use chiropractic not for pain control. They use it for athletic performance, for increased performance.
Oh.
So how do we take care of our health? Well, first realize that lack of symptoms does not equal health. Okay, we never want to judge our health by our symptoms or lack thereof. Nutrition, rest, your mind, that's another topic someone should do. Fascinating, which is the power of the mind over your body. If you want to look at something online, check out Dr. Aaliyah Crum, The Power of the Placebo. Very, very. Change your mindset, change the game. Amazing, amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Oh yeah, it's fascinating, fascinating. Okay, so exercise. Okay, I have another presentation I call the 5 pillars, where I kind of put them all together into one, longer presentation. So my goal is to teach my patients how to get as close as 100% as possible. I work on the nervous system, or the health zones, which is unique to chiropractic. How long can you live without food? Approximately 30 days. How long can you live without water? Approximately 4 days. How long you can live without air? Approximately 4 minutes, unless you're Wim Hof, then you can go a lot longer. But how long can you live without nervous system? You can't. It's instantaneous. Okay. Who pays for our health? Insurance usually pays only for crisis or trauma care. You pay for your health. It's a proactive responsibility. Just like insurance doesn't pay for fruits, veggies, your gym membership, auto maintenance doesn't pay for oil, lube, and filter, but you have to get those things done. Type of office, that I run, I want to see, everyone be able to have care, so my care is affordable, and my vision is to see communities and families changed. Healing takes time, right? Do we eat well only once? No. Do we exercise only once? Do we brush our teeth only once? Do we water our garden only once? No. Healing takes time and repetition. So how do we get these subluxations, or these zones that are out of balance? Have you ever seen a child born and they have to turn the head? That could do something, right? Maybe.
Pull it out
Right there.
Traumas, right? Traumas. We've all, seen this. Sports injuries, concussions, and then, now we're in the modern age, so everyone is doing this.
Keeps us in business.
Yeah. And then, so D.D. Palmer, who was the originator of chiropractic, back in 1895, so the first chiropractic adjustment restored a man's hearing. That's what it's based on. It has nothing to do with neck or back pain, ever. Okay? So you didn't go to a chiropractor back in the day because you had neck or back pain, and they didn't ask you where it hurt. You went because they were like, I don't know what to do with you. So people would go to the chiropractor. The chiropractor would determine where they felt, misalignments were. They would adjust them, and they started getting people well. So much that all these different conditions that they started to advertise for that. And that's what got them into trouble. So a lot of chiropractors were jailed for practicing medicine without a license, because they said, oh, if you have this, we can help with that. And so that is the definition of practicing medicine, where you diagnose and treat a condition. So that's not what we're doing. We're rather supporting health. So we're just saying, look, if I remove interference from your nervous system, which controls everything else, doesn't matter what's going on, it's got to get better. So that's, the differentiator. But it was actually 1918. This is history, chiropractic history. 1918, there was a flu pandemic. And those that were under chiropractic care had 1/40th the death rate of those who were being treated traditionally. And again, you'd say, flu, what does that have to do with chiropractic? So again, it's balancing the body, removing interference from the nervous system's function. The body is able to adapt. Remember when I put adaptability in big quotes? Okay, so that's what it's all about, is adaptability, right? So increasing our body's ability to adapt to its environment. So I think it was D.D. Palmer's son, B.J. Palmer, who said, rather than trying to change the environment to suit the weakened body, so, we're hyper Clorox cleaning everything because germs are everywhere. Well, instead of doing that, why don't we rather strengthen the body to change with the ever-changing environment, right?
And eat the dirt.
And eat the dirt, right? Yeah, now we know that. So how to detect and correct these imbalances is what's unique to chiropractic. So in zone healing, again, you've got the 6 different systems. And I am able, there's points on the back of the skull that I can palpate to determine which system is out of balance. And then by adjusting specific segments of the cord, so the body is an electrical machine. So we have a positive pole and we have the negative pole. Each zone has 4 vertebrae associated with it. So it's not so much a bone moving technique as it is a spinal cord stimulation technique. So it's like you're going to the fuse box and the power, and you notice certain of the switches are tripped. And so what do? You flip them back, right? And you turn the power on. So that's in essence what we're doing. There's some research on chiropractic. There's tons of research on chiropractic, but just a few. Chiropractic adjustments were found to be better than 2 blood pressure medications. Again, adaptability. There's been research done showing that those under regular chiropractic care have increased adaptability. And then very interesting study. This was groundbreaking. This was just recently. I believe it was last year. Is everyone familiar with what telomeres are?
Yeah, the tails on your jeans.
Yeah, so they're the end caps of your jeans. They're like your shoelace, that little thing on the shoelace. So you can put it through the hole, that little thing. And what happens when you've ever had one of them fall off, and what happens? It all frays apart. So telomere length is associated with longevity. Okay, so there was a landmark study that a woman who underwent, it was a case study, a woman who underwent chiropractic care and also increased the curve in her neck, and I'll get to that in a minute. The natural, what should be there, curve in her neck. She changed nothing else. She didn't change her diet. She didn't change any other routine. She just did that. And they were able to take a blood sample and test her blood, and she actually lengthened her telomeres just under chiropractic care. Now, they've done similar studies, I'm sure, with again, this is, remember when I said epigenetics? Mm-hmm. So this is how you affect your genes through your environment, which means your lifestyle. So I'm sure they've done similar telomere studies on exercise and nutrition and meditation and all that kind of stuff. It's part of a healthy lifestyle. There's also been studies on asthma, as well, that asthma gets better under chiropractic care. Okay, so here's what I was talking about. So the cervical curve, cervical meaning neck, and then curve. So you're looking at someone's x-ray, someone from the neck from the side. So they're standing like this. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's the back of their skull, and here's their jaw, and this is their neck vertebrae. You have 7 vertebrae. Same as a giraffe, by the way. They're just a lot bigger.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, a giraffe has 7 neck vertebrae. They're just gigantic. Yep.
Wow.
So if you remember anything else, remember that. What'd you guys get out of that talk? I learned that giraffe has the same.
Number in the neck.
And they don't go to chiropractic.
That's right. That's right. They don't. Maybe someone should. There's actually horse chiropractors. They do extremely, extremely well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Only in Madagascar.
Only in Madagascar, right. Yeah, that's right. So, okay, so you're looking at someone from the side. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this line here. So this is depicting where their neck should be a curve, and this is where they are. So can you see that that is not normal? Can you see how the head is shifted forward and how this is bent like the opposite way?
And this is from computer use.
Could be any kind of a trauma, yeah, or like looking down all the time, yeah. So what happens, you have to remember that this is an x-ray, so it's only showing the bone, but what's inside? The spinal cord, right? Yep. So the spinal cord is attached to the brain. It's kind of like the brain's ponytail. So it's attached, and it's attached all the way down, right here. And it's tethered at the other end as well. So when the neck is in its normal shape, and they've done cadaver studies, when it's like this, the spinal cord is nice and relaxed, and the blood vessels feeding the nervous system are big and fat. But when the neck is put like that, what are you doing? So it's imagine, like a race car track, right? It's like this. And you always want the inside lane. Why do you always want the inside lane? Because it's shorter, right? But if we take the inside lane and now make it the outside lane, now what have you done?
Going further.
You're lengthening, so you're stretching it. So remember, it's tethered at both ends, and it ain't a bungee cord. So when you tether something, does its diameter, does it get bigger or does it get smaller? So again, this is carrying all the information to tell everything what to do. But it also, even from a pain standpoint, it tethers the nerve roots all the way down. So like there was a recent study done where someone had low back pain, they corrected their neck curve and their low back pain went away. And they didn't even touch their low back. That's why that happens.
Isn't this curve, because you have two S's, very correlated to your low back curve too?
Well, so the spine has three curves. Like we know that from the front we should be straight, right? That's because if it's not straight, what's that called? Scoliosis, right? So from the front we should be straight, right? But from the side we have three curves. So the neck has a forward shaping C like this, okay? In the mid back it switches, that's where the ribs are, and it's not a C, but it's more not as deep, but it's reverses. So the mid back curves the other way, and they call that a kyphosis, yeah. So the mid back goes the other way, but then in the low back, it goes back to similar to this, except it's more egg-shaped, which means it's more curved at the bottom, less curved at the top, ellipse.
And your sacrum's kind of like curved the way that your thoracic is.
Correct.
So you got two little S's.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, staggering statistics. Medical mistakes are the third leading cause of death in the United States, the equivalent of a jumbo jet crashing every day. Healthcare versus sick care. I don't understand why they're the gatekeepers of our health, but they are. We can do better. The difference between treating a condition and supporting health. So therefore, based on that, who should be checked?
Everybody.
Hey, everyone's got a spine. Everyone's got a nervous system. Yeah. Okay. So another quote, you never know how far-reaching something you think, say, or do today will affect the lives of millions tomorrow. So I'm very much honored to be standing here and giving this presentation. So I feel like I have a moral obligation to share this, but I'm only one person, so you can all help to spread the message. So you just have to choose, again, are you masking the symptom or are you correcting the cause? So I feel like, again, going back to the prior presentation, you start getting things in sync with the way your body is designed. You start getting your structure in line with the way it's designed and your zones balanced. Well, then to me, that's correcting the cause versus treating the symptoms.
There you go.
Thank you.